Okay, happy Wednesday. So it'll be a month on Saturday that you've completed your first month of cosmetology school. And I said in previous episodes, I talk a lot about mindset because for me, the first few months of cosmetology school, I found the coursework to be pretty dry and uninteresting. I didn't really understand why the subjects we were studying we needed to study. I mean, I just wanted to get my hands in hair, right? As most of us want to do, either makeup or skin or hair. We did not sign up for cosmetology school because we can't wait to do bookwork. And I'll just let you know that some of that bookwork has taken my ability to retain clients further than I ever expected. And I'll just give you an example that when I'm working with color, a blonde will ask me a question, or a brunette will ask me a question, or somebody comes in with gray hair and they want to know, like, well, what is it going to look like? Well, what's the end result going to look like? And maybe I've done their hair before, and maybe I haven't done their hair before, but I can explain to them pigmentation. So within the hair strand, we have two different types of pigmentation. There's eumelanin and phenomelanin. And even when I'm doing this episode right now, I cannot remember which is which. But a brunette has one and a blonde has another. So actually, people who are natural blondes and natural redheads have the same, either it's phenomelanin or eumelanin, and then brunettes have the other pigmentation. The reason that's important to know, imperative to know, because more often than not, someone will sit in your chair that's had a terrible color experience, and they'll say, it just got so orange, it just got so brassy. Now I understand when you oxidize a hair strand, it's always going to get warm. I mean, you'll learn that in school. Hopefully you learn that in school. If you don't, anytime you put color on hair, it gets warm. But if you know that the person is a natural blonde, for example, if they have gray hair, you know that it will lift beautifully. There won't be any brassiness. But what if somebody sits in your chair and they're gray, but they have a salt and pepper mixture of like a dark gray and then a really white gray, or kind of like a dingy gray? You know that there's more often you're going to be battling some brassiness with that. It's not as difficult to counteract when you're working with gray hair. But you definitely always want to be asking someone who contacts you to do their hair color, can you send me a picture? And then a picture of what you'd like the end look to be like. And a lot of times they will send you a picture and their natural hair color is not in the photo. And that you just got to break down and explain to them why it's achievable, why it's not achievable, what is achievable. I mean, there's a lot of managing expectations. Anyway, because I understand this concept of eumelanin and phenomelanin, I more often than not can let a consumer know, a future client or a current client know, I know what I am talking about on a scientific level. So if you are a natural blonde, you have this pigmentation that's yellow, and all natural redheads have it. And what I explained to them and what I've learned in a color class years ago, think about yellow food coloring, and then think about yellow food coloring in a bottle. It's orange, right? So all that pigmentation is in a blonde is a bunch of in a redhead, a bunch of concentrated pigmentation. So blondes are always going to lift a lot orangier or warmer when you're working with a redhead or a blonde. We'll get more into the technical part of working with blondes, but so that will lift more yellow and orange. And most blondes, they don't want to be yellow and orange. I'll just let you know that, because they were not born with yellow or orange hair. They were born with this beautiful God-kissed, beautiful, naturally blonde highlights. Brunettes they actually have more red in their hair strand. And so that's why when you're thinking, no, like I'm a brunette, Emily, I lift really orange and really brassy. Well, it's not the yellow that's making you brassy, right? It's the red and it's moving through orange. Had I not paid attention to my coursework, that conversation is such a struggle, especially when a professional sits in your chair and they want to know why you are going to be a different hairstylist than the previous hairstylist that couldn't give them what they want. You may not still be able to give them what they want, but when you are able to explain it to them, they trust you more, and then you can move to the conversation of what is achievable for their hair.